Welcome to Light It Up, a podcast about resilient women balancing motherhood, their careers, personal lives, and all of the challenges that come along with being a superwoman. Each week, you'll be motivated to take action to lead, inspire, transform, and empower. Now, here's your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Light It Up. I am your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah. I am glad that you were able to join me today for a bonus episode of Light It Up. I have a very special guest, Miss Tiffany C. Taylor, who is running for a position on the 227 High School District School Board here in the state of Illinois, but specifically the area targets Olympia Fields, Matteson, Country Club Hills, parts of Park Forest, and I may be missing, I think Richton Park, right, Illinois. So
a little bit of Tinley.
Right, in a small section of Tinley Park. So I have Tiffany Taylor on today because I wanted to give her an opportunity to discuss her campaign. And so you, those informed voters, will have an opportunity to get to know your candidate before the April 6th, 2021 election. So welcome to Light It Up, Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So full transparency, I will say this, you and I do serve together on a board for the Democratic Women of the Southland region. And we've known each other for quite some time. But of course, I wanted to provide you with a platform to get your message out to those who reside in those suburban areas where along the boundaries for the District 227. I think it's very important for voters to be informed about their candidates so that when they go to the polling place, they can make an informed decision. And for people who know me very well, they know that I will only support those people that I think will do an excellent job and that has the best interest of our families and our students at heart. And of course, I am publicly endorsing you as a candidate for the school board.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what I would like for you to do is just take a few moments to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll get into those questions.
Sure. So, of course, my name is Tiffany Taylor. I'm using my middle initial for this election. So it's Tiffany C. Taylor. I am a Matteson resident. My husband and I have been married for this year. It'll be 22 years. We have two adult sons who are college graduates. I'm an educational professional. I've worked with children in various capacities for my entire adult life, volunteering, mentoring, and providing additional support that our future needs. I've worked in education for over 10 years. I have a comprehensive understanding of school district structure with experience working with school boards as well as administration. I am a firm believer in community, and that means bringing together our students, staff, and stakeholders.
So now, in addition to your work in the field of education, you also are very actively involved in the community in terms of your volunteerism as well, correct?
That is correct. I volunteer. I am a board member with the Gloria J. Taylor Foundation, and I do volunteer with them as well, mentoring, participating in different activities that they hold for the students, as well as I am a Park District Commissioner for the Village of Matteson.
Okay, so you are a woman of many hats, which is, I mean, it's also a great thing because I think it's very important for us to get involved also in the political process. So why don't you tell us, why did you decide to launch your campaign for the school board? You mentioned that you have two adult children who, one, I believe, has already graduated from college, or have both graduated from college. So what made you decide that you wanted to put your hat in the ring to sit on the school board?
So I've always, like I said, I've always been involved. For my sons, I've always gone into the school. On my off days, I volunteered. You know, most parents like to chaperone field trips. Well, I did a little bit more. I went into the classrooms, and I even was invited to attend a PTO meeting. And when I got to the PTO meeting, I was the only one that showed up.
Mm.
And so they were like, well, you know, can you be our PTO president? I had absolutely no idea what that entailed, but I thought it was interesting that no other parent showed up. And so that kind of sparked my interest into getting more involved and trying to get more parents involved in their students' educational career. And so I accepted the challenge and I built the PTO, and we got many members very fast. I encouraged them to come. I held raffles and things of interest to get people to be there. And as time went on, as my sons grew up, I still noticed there was a lack.
Mhm.
And then I started to notice that, you know, people were making choices when it came to where their children were going to school, if they were going to go to private school, or, you know, if they wanted to pull them out altogether and homeschool. And those things kind of concern me, because we all know that students need each other. They need that emotional support. And so, with that being said, I started paying attention a little bit more, getting involved a little bit more, and then the more I've seen the different aspects of board members and their focus, I kind of decided, okay, for high school, I feel like that's like the next step prior to entering adulthood.
Mhm.
And so we want to prepare our students, and we want to give them an opportunity that they'll be able to take with them. And so we have to improve our schools to have parents stay and want to continue to put their kids in it.
Right. And I mean, it's noted that in the area, in the service area in which you are running for the school board, um, the I'm going to say we, because I am a former resident of Matteson. So those property taxes are simply astronomical when you think about it in comparison to, let's say, the city of Chicago, for example. So obviously the expectation is that if you're paying high property taxes, a significant amount of those tax dollars do funnel into the school district. But as you mentioned, there are some families that choose to select a private school, and so they're paying tuition on top of the tax dollars that they're still required to pay as residents. 227 has undergone some changes as far as the structure of the high schools. What would you say is the greatest challenge right now as far as District 227 is concerned?
Well, clearly, taxpayers have a vested interest in our high schools. So, to address that, you're absolutely right. We pay very high taxes in a lot of areas of the entire Rich 227 community in various locations within those municipalities. And that's that's something that obviously is a concern, not only as a parent of a student, but as a community member who doesn't have children.
Mhm.
When you know your tax dollars are going towards the school, but you feel like you can't show for any of it, it becomes an issue. And that's something that I agree. We need to make our schools where we can be proud that we're paying this amount in taxes. I mean, we understand Cook County and all
Yeah,
of the other things that go into that. But
right.
we definitely just want to make sure that we're focusing
Mhm.
on making our schools better, and we want to be competitive. We don't want an option. We want us, you know, our people to say, hey, they could go to Southland or they
Mhm.
could go to Rich 227, and
Mhm.
they're going to get the same education.
Yeah.
That's the focus. That's the goal. I would love to work to get to that point, and I that is a big focus as
Mhm.
far as something that 227 is battling. I also feel like community uh, transparency and input is a big thing. The community, if they feel involved in everything that's going on, they may not um, frown upon some of the things that they feel their taxes are going towards.
Yeah, it seems like a huge part of the disconnect may also be the fact that maybe some families may not feel there's a way for them to become involved in the educational process. Do you have any ideas on how the school board in particular can increase the family and parental involvement within the district?
From my understanding, 227 has a plan for parent engagement.
Mhm.
And I always feel like, and I've even expressed this when speaking with the district, that there's parents that participate
Mhm.
all the time.
Mhm.
So you host these events and you promote these things and you get the same parents.
Yeah.
And I really feel like we have to broaden our reach and get more parents involved. And that's how we make that change. I've also I've also challenged some of my neighbors who don't have children to get involved.
Mm.
See what we can do to help our students when it comes to volunteering or mentoring or even community service work. Maybe we can put together listing of our elderly residents, and then we can get our students to shovel snow,
Mm.
cut grass, little things that they will get community credit for. I think that that's like the biggest thing that the community itself can do if you don't have children that attend these schools. And then you may even get to know the children a little better. You
Mm.
may have a different mindset when it comes to dealing with them, because we know as we get a little older, we get a little frustrated with our youth.
Yeah.
But I think that that could be very beneficial to do it that way.
Excellent points. I was just looking at your not only your accomplishments, but your focus for Rich 227. And there is a focus on student success, of course, which is great, and the fiscal responsibility and stakeholder engagement. As far as student success is concerned, um, I work in higher education, and student success, of course, is also a focus for us um, in higher education. And sometimes there is a challenge, whereas students may not be adequately prepared for college. And then let's face it, college is very expensive. And in some of our districts, we may push college, but not necessarily push the trades or um, attending a 2-year community college to obtain an associate's degree to cut down on the cost of education. Are there any programs or plans within Rich 227 to maybe create a balance between pushing students or pushing students into the higher educational space or into entering into the trades? Because as a country, we're also at a shortage with individuals who are going into the trades as well.
You are absolutely correct. And we've talked about that a number of times. I think it's important to engage with our students and see, meet them where they are.
Mhm.
Sometimes we set expectations for students that are for us and not necessarily for them. And so one of my goals is to establish a career path for all initiative, because the trades are important.
Mhm.
I will say my oldest son obtained his bachelor's degree in psychology.
Mhm.
And college was not an easy task for him. I honestly wasn't sure if college was really for him, but
Mhm.
he pushed and he made it through.
Mhm.
Now, my youngest son actually wanted to go into a trade.
Mhm.
So he decided he wanted to do automotive technology. And we know that's a trade that's going to always be needed as long as we have vehicles, right?
Exactly.
Um, But he also wanted to get a degree.
Okay.
And so he searched and he found a program at the University of Northwestern Ohio that offers automotive technology as a degree program. So now he has his associate's degree in automotive technology,
Mhm.
and he's currently employed with Philip Chevy. And he wants to go back to school because now he wants to go into auto design. And so then he can move that on over into his bachelor's degree. But I totally agree with you that college isn't for everyone.
Right.
And I would love for people to acknowledge that the path to success doesn't have to always go through college. And as you stated, these trades, there's a shortage. You know, we talk about laborers and pipe fitters and steel workers. There's a shortage, and when those people retire, what do we have left? So we have to encourage those students who know that college is not in their future, whether it's because of their financial situation or maybe family commitments. The ability to find a trade and get good work that pays really well, we have to give the options to them.
Right, exactly. I think presenting it in such a way where it's just as attractive as it is going to a 4-year college or university, and encouraging that because we've been trained. I mean, I think it's safe to say that we've been trained to, you graduate from high school, you go to college, you get a good job. But then when you think about the student loan debt that so many people have incurred, and when you could actually go into a trade, make a decent amount of money, and then decide to go back and pursue the full degree, if that's, you know, something that you feel like you need to do. So I think that school districts bear some of the responsibility as well in terms of making that attractive, but then also families, parents need to be open to that as well.
Absolutely.
In terms of the funding for school districts, the state of Illinois, with the funding source based upon property taxes, that also places many districts at a disadvantage because of the calculations and relying on property taxes to fund education. What are some ideas to help in that aspect in terms of securing additional funding for the district?
You know, I think, you know, clearly we have to be responsible with our spending. That's going to be important. I can honestly say that Rich 227 has a sound financial profile. They've achieved financial recognition a number of times in the last 10 years and consistently for the past 3 years. I would like to explore funding options, grants, things that can supplement that additional cost that'll help with our spending and what we're spending it on. I do know that with the Gloria J. Taylor Foundation, we receive funding from the U.S. Department of Education. And so those are a select number of students that we can work with as an organization that helps the alleviate some of the school burden so that students can get the additional support that they need. So I would definitely promote grant seeking. If that's a possibility, get a grant writer that literally all they do is seek grants for the school. I think that would be great.
Yeah. Now, how many seats are, I guess, open for this election cycle on the school board?
There are 4 seats.
Okay. And it's a school board that consists of how many seats? I should know this, but
so there's seven school board members, and this election cycle has 4 open seats, and then the alternating cycle will have 3.
Okay. All right. You know, I haven't been in the political arena in about 8 years and over in Matteson. So some things I just kind of put on the back burner in terms of trying to focus on. So there are 4 seats available, and the next election cycle will be in a couple of years for those other 3 seats.
Correct. It should be the 2023 election.
Okay. So we've got a couple of years for you to get in there and to begin to make some headway with some of the board members who will remain until 2023. Are I guess the other question that I have is how will the experience that you have sitting on the Park District Board help with um, transitioning over to the school board?
Well, with the park board, it's more, we do focus on the youth,
Hmm.
so that it plays a role, obviously. It's more participation in events and activities versus educational.
Hmm.
So I think that the idea of us working together as board members to come to a consensus of how we can best service our youth
Hmm.
is something that will help me transition to the school board.
Yeah, I remember so it's been, I don't know, I think it's been about 6 or 7, no, it's been about 7 years actually since I was a resident of the district. And at that time, my children were actually in elementary school, so they did not have an opportunity to attend any of the Rich 227 schools. But I know even during that time, there seemed to be more of a partnership with the school district and the elementary district. I think probably based upon the age of the students in the grade range, because they had the after school programs and things of that nature. As far as Rich 227, can you talk about? I kind of touched on this at the beginning of the program, where there were some changes in terms of the schools. So now the district is it comprised of two high schools now?
So it is now actually one high school
Okay.
with two campuses.
Okay.
So the Rich East location was closed,
Hmm.
and Rich South is the Fine Arts campus, and Rich Central is now the STEM campus.
Okay. All right. That is good to know. And so, so families have, based upon the students' academic and career interests, then they will select one of the two campuses.
So they freshmen and sophomores will attend their, for lack of a better word, home campus,
Okay.
and juniors and seniors will have the opportunity based on their career focus to choose which school they would like to attend. In the meantime, they are shuttled back and forth. So there are shuttles that go back and forth for the students.
Okay. So I am clearly out of the loop. I'm in Homewood Flossmoor School District, so there's only one school, one high school. So that's part of the reason why I keep up, but probably not enough to know all of the intricate details that are involved with the school district. So why don't you tell the audience, why should they vote for you? And then make sure you give us details on when to vote and and your punch number as well.
So I feel like I am one of the best candidates for the Rich 227 board. I love our youth. I love the passion. I love where they can go from here. I am forward focused. I am not interested in dealing with the past. I am not interested in focusing on negativity. I feel that we have to lead by example, and we have to show our students positive role models, that we're working for them so that they can appreciate what we're doing. I'm the candidate that is not going to mince words about any of it. If it's not student focused, if it does not benefit our students, I don't want to talk about it. Like if it's any other agendas, I don't want to take any part in.
Mhm.
I hope to have the opportunity to prove myself and show everyone my passion for our students, and hopefully get everyone out to early vote March 22nd through April 5th, and no later than Election Day, April 6th.
Mhm.
And my punch number is 142. I am second on the ballot. Tiffany C. Taylor for Rich 227.
Well, being second on the ballot, that's a good spot.
I hope so.
It is a good spot. It is. There are 4 seats, so it's a good spot.
Yeah,
So early voting begins March 22nd and runs until April 5th. Election day is April 6th.
correct.
For early voting, is there a specific location where voters should go for the early voting? Are there multiple locations, or is there one location for early voting?
So yes, there are multiple locations. The last I checked, the closest one is probably going to be Matteson Recreation Center.
Mhm.
But I believe that if I read correctly, there will also be a location in Markham at the courthouse, as well as Prairie State College, if I read correctly. So those are locations where you can go and early vote. And then, of course, on election day, you'll go to your precinct.
Right. Okay. So we want to encourage everyone to make sure you have that's about 10 days, I think, if my math is correct, or maybe a little bit longer to go out to vote. And polling, the voting is usually from 9 to 5 during the early voting, but make sure you
That's
check
correct.
check the time. So don't hold us to it, but check the time, check your location. You do have multiple options to choose from as far as where you go to vote for early voting. And then, of course, if you choose to wait until April 6th on election day, you will vote according to your designated precinct. But make sure you punch 142 for Tiffany C. Taylor as she is running for Rich School District, High School District 227 School Board. Tiffany, do you have any other information that you'd like to share, any closing remarks that you'd like to leave the audience with?
I just want to say I am excited to have the opportunity to work with parents, the community, and most importantly, the students. I understand board members have their role, but I am very encouraged, and I believe 227 will be that school district that everyone wants to attend.
Awesome. Well, if I could move back to 227, I would, but it's a little too late for me.
I appreciate you anyway.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to come on and just to spend a few moments to talk about your campaign for the school board. I really appreciate it. If folks want to get more information about your campaign, where can they reach you online or?
Sure, I can be located on Facebook, Tiffany Taylor for Rich 227 Board of Education. I can also be emailed at friendsfortiff@gmail.com. And again, I look forward to hearing from everyone. I've already received a lot of positive response. I have a couple of emails I still need to return today, so I'll make sure I get on that and get back to our community so that they can know exactly who they're voting for.
Awesome. Well, I wish you much success at the polls. I am sure that you are going to do well. The community needs you. They need someone who is passionate about our youth and who also understands education. And I know we didn't talk a great deal about your professional career in education, but I mean, you have over 10 years of experience working in education administration. So you definitely understand, and at the high school level. So, of course, you definitely understand how high schools work, and you have that experience to bring to the table. So, I do hope that the audience takes an opportunity to take a look at your website, look at your campaign goals, and then reach out if you want to volunteer or if you want a campaign sign. So,
Absolutely.
so make sure you reach out to Tiffany C. Taylor just to learn how you can support her campaign for Rich 227 School Board. So thank you all for tuning in to this bonus episode of Light It Up. Make sure you check back with me next week to see what guests I will have on next. In the meantime, make sure you continue to light it up and shine bright like a diamond. Thanks for joining me this week on Light It Up. Make sure you visit my website at www.lightituppodcast.com or www.aginahmuhammad.com. You can also find me on social media using the handle @LightItUpPodcast. If you like what you've heard, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, I'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or you can simply tell a friend about the show. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for a new episode. Until next time, light it up and shine bright like a diamond.